I'll be honest with you, during most of my first full playthrough of Nier Automata, I had a pretty mediocre time. The strangely Iron Platinum-like repetitive bland combat and grey world really wore on me and I straight up didn't enjoy myself. It wasn't until fairly close to the end where everything clicked for me. Suddenly all that tedium and frustration I'd felt early on felt both incredibly minor and almost intentional, and I started to see this game for what it really was, a very touching dissertation on humanity.
Is that?
You mean the birds? Yeah, there's more plants and animals here than there used to be. Probably because the environment's changed.
Nier has an incredibly generic sounding premise, androids fighting at the behest of humanity to take back Earth from alien constructed robots. What really makes it stand apart, however, is the way it expands and builds on that premise, constantly adding layers of intrigue and genuine emotion and complexity to create something, if not unique, at least very interesting. This is a game where the creator's idea of existentialism, consciousness and death permeates every nook and cranny in a way that I can really get behind. You can really tell there was a single defined vision and work behind this game, and that's something that's as appreciated as it is unusual in games of this scope.
According to our intel, none of the machines in this area are hostile. We've been seeing more and more enemies like this lately. They just stand there and stare into space. It's pretty weird.
From larger scale main quests spanning huge battles to side quests about giant weaponized mechs gaining sentience and, after realizing what the purpose of their being is, basically committing suicide, every little thing helps build a sense of this being a real tangible place. It manages to tackle questions about what it means to be human and the nature of purposeless existence with surprising grace and gravitas. Never does it feel like it's ham-fistedly just reading to you from an essay on the societal cycles of life and death. It instead brings it all out through clever narrative. Also have to give props for the creative ways the game uses its medium in order to tell its story from time to time. Creatively using player interaction is something that feels like it's been reserved for smaller indie titles as of late, so it's really cool to see some of it in here.
Can you hear me? Alright, are we good now? Oh, thank you. Anyway, that takes care of the settings.
Like a lot of great stories of this nature, Nier manages to take an on the surface very large scale story and focus it down to something very condensed and personal. Sure, the surrounding tissue of the nature of the world and the conflicts that take place in it are very interesting and do have a place, but at the end of the day it all comes down to the core characters and their actions, thoughts and feelings.
You know, ma'am, I'm glad you're here.
Why?
Scanners like me mostly work alone. Scouting out enemy lines and all that, I don't usually get a partner. It's kind of fun.
Now don't get me wrong, as much as I think some of the early tedium and blandness ends up actually doing Nier a favor once you get towards the end, it's not without fault. Combat I still personally find really dull, and there's definitely way too much running long distances between quest objectives. But those points all end up being very easy to overlook when you look at the game as a complete experience. Overall, I'm extremely glad I played through Nier Automata. It's a really great game, and something that I definitely still think about a year after its release.
Glory to mankind.
Glory to mankind.